Whew. God damn. Straight off the bat, don't mind this ugly ass hood scoop. So I'm actually getting my carbon one fully PPF'd, all that bullshit, because I don't want it to look like shit after a long period of time. So just rocking this. So right now it's Saturday. It should come back like fully PPF'd around Monday or Tuesday, so this will have to do. Also, weird side note, anyone in the GTA, have you guys been noticing like a shit ton of pollen like all over your car? Like, is it just me? Because oh my god guys, it is literally like I clean the car and like 3 hours later it's just covered in pollen, man. It's also, I used to be that basic bitch that would get like the black ice air freshener, and I got this one, and guys, it smells freaking mint. It's been like a week and I can still smell it. Anyways guys, what's going on? Welcome to a brand new video. So today is one of those videos that I was thinking about doing for a while, but I kind of had to, like, you know, think of it and put some time and thought into it, but I finally did. And so we're going to be talking about the ugly truth about Mazdaspeed 3s. Freaking stupid access port doesn't turn on by itself sometimes. Oh, don't scrape, don't scrape. Oh, I kind of did. Shitty angle. I wish I could like open up the gate so that way I could park like somewhere over here, but whatever. Oh, shit. So we're gonna jump straight into the ugly truth about the Mazdaspeed 3 platform. So first things first is the drivetrain. And what is the drivetrain? Well, this car's front wheel drive. So front wheel drive comes with its disadvantages. So first of all, it's hard to put the power down, especially at like lower speed. So first gear is literally like useless in this car. Second gear, depending on the road, you can get like a good pull, but you may just like spin your wheels. Then like once you're in third gear, you can start putting power down and shit. It's just kind of annoying because when you start adding more power, the wheels are just spinning. I mean, yes, you can fix it with like wider tires and all that shit, but still it's bound to happen, especially in the lower speeds. It's almost impossible to get a good like pull or rip in like a lower speed just because it's just gonna be spinning so much. Being front wheel drive also doesn't make it the best handling car. It doesn't make it the best car for like drag races or just like doing launches and shit. It's just not the most ideal just because all the power is going straight to the front wheels, and it'll just cause the wheels to spin a lot and you won't be putting down the power that you want to. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can get a good launch from this car. It's just very hard and it's not the most ideal car to launch. It's not like an all-wheel drive like Subaru WX STI or like an Evo. It's just not something it shines in compared to its other competitors, just because of the car being front wheel drive. So next on the list is this car is not the most ideal track car. So what do I mean by that? Well, you'd expect this car being front wheel drive to be super light, and that's really not the case. This car, like the Gen 2 specifically I'm talking about, is around 3,200 pounds. Don't quote me on that. If I'm wrong, I'll put it up on the screen, but yes. It's still super heavy compared to like, you know, a Honda Civic Si where it's only like 2,900 pounds. You'd expect being front wheel drive that like you would shave off a lot of weight, but that's definitely not the case. And this car understeers like a shit ton. It's really annoying. It handles good, don't get me wrong, but on the track it's not the most ideal compared to like, you know, the Hondas and all that shit. Like, you're just not going to be beating them. It's just the fact of the matter. Like, this car is not like the most ideal track car, honestly. Just the mixture of like being front wheel drive with all that understeer, it being super heavy, so it's not able to like take the corners the best compared to like other cars. Like, for example, like they're literally going to be like stock BRZ FRS owners who will take corners and get better lap times than you, regardless of how faster the speed compared to that car is. But it's just, bruh, it's just how it takes the corners. It's just not the most ideal from what I've heard. So I don't know, it's kind of unfortunate because I do want to really get into tracking my car. Don't get me wrong, it's still a fun car to track, but it's just not the best car that, you know, will like break records, you know, get the best lap times, will win you awards, that kind of shit. Going on to the next thing that I previously talked about is this car is not the most ideal to launch. It's not going to get the best like quarter mile times. It's not going to be the most ideal car that you can take from a dig and expect to like gap everyone. It's just not what it's meant for. If you really want to get good pulls from this, you want to get like roll races from it, but if you're trying to get like a good pull from a dig, then I don't know, you may be disappointed, to be honest. It's just, it's not that the car is slow by any means from a dig, it's just because it's so hard to launch it with all that power and torque at the front wheels. So next, I usually say that this car makes good power on simple bolt-ons, and it does, don't get me wrong, but compared to other cars like the Volkswagen GTI, the Golf R, or even the Honda Civic Type R, or even Evo, this car does not respond as well to like mods as they do. Like those cars make a shit ton more power with just like a simple intake and a tune compared to this car, or even when you add a downpipe. Don't get me wrong, like I said, this car does make good power from like simple bolt-ons and a tune, but compared to like the competitors, like I said, the GTI, Golf R, Type R, all that bullshit, it's just kind of unfortunate because modifications for this car are very expensive and you're not going to be getting the best bang for your buck, like mods per performance or whatever you want to call it, compared to like its competitors. Not to say all of them, but majority of them will make more power, you know, being a turbocharged 4-cylinder compared to this car. Another thing about this car is it's super finicky when modifying it. You have to really know what you're doing. It's annoying, like you got to add high pressure fuel pump internals before anything. It's even risky just running an intake without it, like you got to get your access port. Another problem with this car is just the amount of money you have to spend before you can really notice any differences. So what do I mean? So straight off the bat, you need your high pressure fuel pump internals and your access port. What is that? $1,000 down the drain. Yes, I know you need that. There's no way of getting around it. It's just annoying because you can't even add like a simple intake without like, you know, having to add high pressure fuel pump internals. I mean, don't get me wrong, I personally have gotten away with adding an intake with no fuel pump internals, but it can be very finicky. These cars are just finicky in general. Like they just need those two things in order just to run properly, and then you need to start adding a tune. And if you don't know what you're doing, you could just end up blowing the whole freaking car up, and then it's just not fun, to be honest. Like if you don't know what you're doing, it can be very stressful. You really have to know what you're doing. You can't just like walk into this platform blindly and expect to like just, you know, throw on parts, make some big power. Like no, it's not the case with this car. Another thing about this car is it's just hard to understand like the ins and outs of this car. So what do I mean by that? So when you should be doing your maintenance, simple, even little things like that I didn't know that I talked about before, where you can't hit boost under like 3,000 RPM. I know I may sound stupid saying that. This was my first ever like turbocharged car. I thought you just, you know, you put it into gear, you just floor it and then it'll go fast. That's definitely not the case. I've heard other people have been doing that. It can be also very confusing when you have to start tuning this car, or when you buy this car with certain modifications, you have no idea what any mods are done to this car. That can be really confusing. It can just be really stressful to own this car, to be honest. Like I've talked about this before. I don't know, it's one of those platforms where it's hard to learn and you really got to know what the hell you're doing or else shit can go wrong. So next is, it's really hard to find a clean Mazdaspeed 3 that has either been reliably modified or not modified at all. It's just very hard in general, and if you do find one, it's probably like jacked up in price. They're asking way more than the car is worth. It's honestly like, it's so hard to find a good clean speed that, you know, is just reliable, has been taken care of properly, because let's be real here, there are a lot of Speed 3 owners who just beat the shit out of it or may not know what the hell they're doing, and then they just sell it, and then it's just the next guy's problem. It's just something to take into consideration when buying this car. Another ugly truth about the Mazdaspeed 3 is, honestly, the interior is cheap as fuck. Don't get me wrong, I'm not one of those guys who are looking for like all the bells and whistles, so I personally really like the interior, but there's just certain things that just Mazda just cheaped out on. I mean, I get it, that's why the car is so affordable, and you know, they put all the money into like the power and shit, but like, just look at this. Like, first of all, I hate how like the pillars, the roof liner, all that shit is like some ugly beige color. Like at the very minimum, they could have made it black. Like just cheap plastic everywhere. Like over here, it's hard to like rest your knee over here because it's just all hard plastic. Literally just hard plastic everywhere. Pretty freaking cheap if you ask me. I mean, I get that they wanted to cut costs in the interior, but like, I don't know, man. It could have been done a little better if you ask me. So on this channel, I usually talk about how reliable this car is. So don't get me wrong, overall, if you take care of it, you do the proper mods, you do the proper maintenance, this car can be reliable. But you will see on the forums, like the Facebook forums or groups, whatever you want to call it, that people just get super unlucky. So, you know, the ZZB, the famous like zoom zoom boom, you see that shit happening every once in a while for like whatever reason. Like even if you do the proper shit, sometimes you can get unlucky, or like the turbo goes out, the VVT goes out. It's just kind of stressful to own this car, man. And you don't want to be that guy in the forums where like you did everything right and then your shit just ends up blowing up. It's just honestly kind of sad, and it's just one of the unfortunate things about owning a Mazdaspeed 3 is sometimes you just gotta expect the worst, because I don't know, people just get unlucky. People just run into like weird issues and shit, and I don't know, I just don't want to ever, like, knock on wood, this car's been super reliable, but I don't know, I'm a part of a lot of Facebook groups and I just see people getting a lot of weird problems. It's just like, how is that even possible? But at the end of the day, it's a car, it's bound to have problems at some point. It's just the fact of the matter. And I mean, overall this car is super reliable. I mean, you're not gonna be, yo, no shade, but you're not gonna be like some sort of like Subaru WRX STI with an EJ motor. You buy it and then you 2 or 3 months in, the motor just blows up. I'm not saying that'll happen, but you know, little things may occur that's kind of annoying. You don't understand why, but I mean, I could ramble about this shit like all day, to be honest. Okay, so this is kind of like not just for like a Mazdaspeed 3. This is about like modifying any car, period. This car is a freaking money pit, bro. Oh my god, guys, stay tuned for my next like how much did my build cost video. It's getting up there, man. It's man, it's getting up there. It's just like you buy one part and then you need another. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, for example, you buy coilovers, you need rear camber arms, you know, you add a downpipe, you need a tune. Just like, it's just like simple things like that, where you add a mod, you think you're done, then you're like, oh shit, I need this too. And then you end up spending like an extra $200, $300, whatever, fucking $1,000 for all we know. And then you're like, well, you look back at it, you're like, damn, I spent X amount of money on a Mazda. Yeah. How do I justify that to my friends that I spent X amount of money on a Mazda? Interesting. So, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. I'm going to give you guys a quick update on what's going on with the car, what I'm going to be doing. So I have the Stop Tech front pads and lines. We're going to install that sometime this week and then top off the fluid. And then we're going to do a bunch of miscellaneous bullshit that you guys don't really care about. Another big thing, so next weekend my car will actually be down. I'm going to be getting the valve cleaning done. He's going to swap the injectors, the seals. He's going to put on the new intake manifold. I actually put a picture right here of what the intake manifold's looking. Shout out to Jose for painting it. It's looking freaking amazing. It's going to look so good in the engine bay. Guys, I may start spicing up my engine bay this year. Like, I don't know, I kind of been putting that on like the back burner, but I don't know, with this new intake manifold, I think it's gonna look pretty sick. God damn, bro, I had to turn on the car, man. It was getting freaking humid in here. Holy shit. You want to know what nice thing about the car though is when you want it to get nice and warm in the cold, it gets warm quick. When you want it to get nice and cool in the hot, it gets cold real freaking quick. Yep, see what I mean? Don't fucking fall. Please don't fall. Alright everybody, that about wraps up the video. I want to make something very clear. I do not hate this car by any means. If you guys watch me and you've been following the channel for a bit, you know how much I love this car. I literally love this car to death. I have nothing but good things to say about it, but like I said, no car is perfect. every car comes with its imperfections, and it's just the fact of the matter. But yeah, I am super excited to show you guys like the progress of the build, what's coming up next, and I'm just gonna document everything, and I hope you guys are enjoying it, following along the journey. Excited for some track content, some installs, some new parts, just a lot of shit. I'll catch you in the next one. I'm not sure what video I'm gonna make next, but we'll see what happens. Thank you for watching. Stay consistent. Peace.